That's right, my friends. Today we are going to be talking about the showcase mode in WWE 2K24 because it's coming up very, very soon. And I was very lucky enough to play it. And as you know, just got it written down here. As of today, we're only allowed to talk about the first 7 matches. But I do have more information on a lot more matches, especially one that I would consider my favorite match of all time. So we'll get to that in another video. But bam, footage will now appear on the screen and we can just go through with it. As you know, if you played a 2K game before, a WWE 2K game before, the showcase mode is essentially you get put in real life situations within the video game and you get to recreate some of the most famous moments that we all remember in our Tootsie Toe. So of course it is WrestleMania 40 in a month or so. The game, which is coming out around about the same time or a month prior, is going to be a showcase of WrestleMania 40, and the very first match that you can play, although I guess in the final build it may be a different order, but why it would be I don't know, but I just throw it out there, is the Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. Now, I thought this was particularly cool just because obviously it's a match that changed perceptions of wrestling in many ways. I mean, it depends on how you approach sports entertainment to begin with, but many people do kind of see it as a precursor to what we consider to be modern day wrestling. And I suppose that's why it's quite a fun match to experience, because a lot of the moments you do get put into are high flying moves, they're going outside of the ring moves. You have Miss Elizabeth in the corner, which is always very, very cool, as we do when we talk about the other ones later on as well. And more of a general overview point is, obviously, there are some things that you are going to be able to get to do. Remembered it from a certain WrestleMania match, and they're going to put you in those environments. And I'm kind of torn on something else, because there are some moments you think that you'd like to experience yourself, and instead they're encapsulated in the videos that go with these showcase modes. So basically what happens is you seamlessly go from graphics to real live footage back to graphics, which is a pretty cool effect to say the least. But yeah, here's my 2 things that kind of draw me in 2 different directions. Is that, one, there are definitely some moments, I keep using that word, that I would actually like to perform myself, even though ultimately what I'm missing out here on pushing a button. I mean, that's all it is. But I think maybe the trade-off for that is, and we'll jump forward to Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for this one, changed on the screen, which is also from WrestleMania 3, obviously, one of the biggest matches in wrestling history. Now, we all remember the Giant Slam, and we all remember, well, other elements, I suppose. But even though I did do the Giant Slam, I did it at the wrong time of the match. And I just beat Andre up, and I think I won with a clothesline or something like that, because I'd achieved all my objectives. That's the other thing, if you don't know, you'll get objectives on the screen. Move Andre to the southwest corner and kick him right in his giant face. But I like that. I do, because you have the tools there, right? They're all there if you want to try and recreate this as honestly as possible. But because I am a goofy idiot who likes doing dumb things, being able to almost recreate the past, well, it just put a smile on my face, because while I do like the showcase mode, I think it's perfect. Sunday afternoon gaming where you're kind of chilling out and you just want something to not switch your mind off, because you do have to concentrate. But it's not my favorite part of WWE 2K is what I'm saying to you. My favorite thing is sitting on the same couch and playing multiplayer, and it's My Rise. Now, we do have some My Rise footage as well, but we'll talk about that on another video because it's embargoed at the moment. But I do think that's a cool thing about the WWE 2K series, is that they have a suite of modes. Like it was last year when I really only got into my GM for the first time, and now I can't even ever imagine playing a WWE 2K game without going into my GM. Like I tinkered about with it before, but for whatever reason last year it really took my interest. I don't know, but that's no shade on Showcase, but it does mean when I do sit down and play it, I just want to have as much fun as possible with it, which is the same when you move forward to WrestleMania 5. Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude. I mean, it's so cool because, again, Bobby Heenan's on the outside, so I just started chasing him for some reason. And I think you can tell that 2K are wrestling fans, because I can't remember which order it is now. You have to forgive me. Now, I think you were definitely the Macho Man in the Steamboat match. Or maybe you were Steamboat. I'm so damn tired. You have to forgive me. Let's just focus on Warrior versus Rude, because my stupid brain was like, well, obviously they'll make you the Ultimate Warrior because he's the good guy and Rick Rude's the bad guy. But no, they put you in the shoes of Rick Rude because, of course, he won that match. And I like that. I like playing the villain. I like playing the heel. It's just much more fun thing to do, especially because when it comes to iconic characters, Rick Rude is someone who's overlooked in many ways. Like, I think there should be a far louder fanfare for the man. I mean, he was an absolute all-timer. But I guess this kind of ties back to the thing I was talking about earlier. When Bobby Heenan grabs the foot, most of that happens in the video footage that you get. And I would like to have been able to do that, but then you are like, how exactly are we going to pull that off? But it's like, I thought about it, and it flicked away from my brain instantly. It's not like it changed my experience at all, but I did want to throw that out there. And then, of course, you move on to Hogan versus Savage at WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers imploding. The reason this one stood out for me is because I was so young when I first saw that match, but I still do have slight memories of it. And this is where I think people will get the most worth from Showcase mode, is just remembering all the little things that they did do, it be the elbow drop or be all the stuff with Miss Elizabeth, like I say, who was at ringside. It just, it turns on, terrible phrasing, your nostalgia gland, and in 2024, that's a massive deal, right? People love nostalgia. They love looking back. It makes them feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. So that was one that stood out to me, as was WrestleMania 6, which is Hulk Hogan versus The Ultimate Warrior. Now, that's a match that I really have memories on. VHS, yes, my man is mid-30s, and I remember seeing it as Nick Hesketh's house, I believe. I've talked to Nick Hesketh in 20 years or so, and we put it on. I just could not believe that you got to see these two powerhouses going at it, and that, like I say, that is what they really push here too. They tell you the story with Corey Graves doing the commentary over these intro videos before you get into the match, saying, oh my gosh, can you believe it? It's Superman versus Batman. It's hero versus hero. They even talk about the crisscross, right? I don't think you do the crisscross. No, you don't. You just see it. But they even talk about those guys doing that, which today kind of looks like the silliest spot ever. But once again, it's the beauty of wrestling. If you do it right and you do execute it with enough seriousness, people will buy into it. You then move on to WrestleMania 8, which is Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper. Now, again, huge fan of Bret Hart, my favorite wrestler ever. And there may be other matches from WrestleMania 8 in there. I don't know for sure. I really, really don't. Again, the way it goes here for the first 7 is Mania 3, Mania 3, Mania 5, Mania 5, Mania 6, Mania 8, Mania 10. We'll get to Mania 10 in just 1 second. But I would assume there may be other matches that people would have called for WrestleMania 8. So when Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper picked up, I was like, yes. And of course, once again, we go through the story where they were kind of friends, and then Roddy Piper becomes a little bit of a dickhead. I did find this one. I don't know how the difficulty level works in the 2K games, but for whatever reason, I found this one quite difficult. But maybe that's because I'm bad at the game, right? And it wasn't difficult in they've made this way too hard. Not at all. In fact, if you're probably even competent at the thing, you'll walk through it. But for whatever, I had to do it a couple of times. So again, I want to share my experience with you. But seeing it in that WrestleMania 8 stadium as well, it's just cool. It made me want to go back and watch WrestleMania 8. Like it just did. So we move on to WrestleMania 10, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out what this one is. Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in the ladder match. One of the most iconic ladder matches of all time for the Intercontinental title. And you got Big Diesel, Kevin Nash. Big Diesel. No one's ever called him that before. Big sexy Big Diesel. All right, we should call him Big Diesel from now on. I'm done with it. And I, once again, would assume, well, it's been put in there, obviously, because it's one of the most remembered WrestleMania matches of all time. But from a gameplay point of view, a gameplay stance, it's also smart because it changes it up. Because we've gone singles match, singles match, singles match, and so on and so forth. And now you're doing a ladder match, and you can use the ladder as much as you want. Like, the interesting thing about watching WrestleMania 10 now, especially what we're used to when it comes to these gimmicks, is it's a relatively, the ladder is more there as a ladder. It's not really there to try and kill anybody with. I mean, there's a lot of jumping off it, especially from Shawn Michaels. But I was like, nah, man, I'm of the 2024 school of ladder matches. I just obliterated people, and it really made me laugh. But of course, recreating everything in this is just so much fun, and it's a laugh. And it's a shame we can't talk about the next 2 matches, because I think that's what I had the most fun with. But again, we'll keep it wrapped up in the embargo for now, and I can just share more info with you when you go. But I mean, I would guess it's a bit like, it's exactly what you think that it should do, or it would do. You know, absolutely plays off the experiences that we've had before. But it's just the way that it's contained. I can totally imagine somebody, if you were wired this way, you do one on a Monday, one on a Tuesday, one on a Wednesday, one on a Thursday, one on a Friday. Let's say there's 20 of them, right? Let's say there's 30, right? And you just roll through the whole month doing one a day. They don't take longer than 10 or 15 minutes. So I think there are some other objectives you can they're more optional objectives. I think that's accurate. I'm not 100% sure. But it would be a great way, if you've kind of missed out on classic WrestleMania matches, to get up to date with them. If you don't just want to sit there on the network and watch the old footage, of course, I do think overall, as a game, WWE 2K24 feels like it hasn't taken any huge strides from last year. I thought last year's was pretty good too, as opposed to the one before that, which was a little bit hit and miss. But because they've finessed so much, it's so much fun to play, and the transitions and the reversal scheme especially, I'm a huge fan of. So again, getting to wrap these kind of characters and situations around it, I think actually could be super duper fun. I think a lot of people will gravitate towards it. I suppose the only thing I would make sure you take away is I don't think that it's like anything, oh my gosh, I can't believe they've done here. No. They've certainly improved upon on what we know they're going to do. And it's certainly a mode that I think you'll get a lot of worth out of. Even more so if the rest of the matches that we do get are classic ones. And again, I'm repeating myself here, but just to make my point, I know 2 of them and they're perfect choices. If we do that with, again, just random WrestleManias. But again, I don't know this. I'm just picking a random WrestleMania. I want to make it very clear. I do not know this. But if we get to WrestleMania 19 and we get to the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock end of the trilogy and technically Stone Cold's last match, and we get all the same little trinkets that we've done for these and we put it into there, that could be really cool. And of course, when you get to WrestleMania 30, maybe it's the Daniel Bryan moment. That may be difficulties in AEW, but I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. But the point is, there are certain aspects that we can take a one from. For example, are we going to get an Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match? You'd have to assume so. And in terms of the current fan base, that means so much to so many people that not only can you learn the history by going all the way back to WrestleMania 3, you can also interact with things that you remember from sort of 10, 15 years ago. So I did like it a lot. I thought it was super duper fun. Like I say, something absolutely to maybe take day by day, or you could sit there and smash through it. Again, I'm only telling you about my taste, but hopefully you got a little feel for the game. I should have said at the start, mostly ignore the level of skill that's on show here. I ain't the best WWE player unless there's somebody like in the room and I'm playing against them, and all of a sudden I become an absolute beast. I did that on Inside Xbox when we played during the Money in the Bank weekend, when they very graciously let me on their stream. I kicked everybody's ass, and these were some of them were like hardcore WWE players. Now it was a complete fluke. If they'd had any time to, well, they came back now, they would absolutely whip my ass too. But I had a really, really good time. So I'm very, very excited about what we can do with this. I think 2K has done well in sort of eeping out the footage. And like I say, when I can talk about my Rise and my gym and all of that stuff, it's just a great suite of features. And I think all the extra additions that are in there, like the casket match, the special referee match, and the ambulance match, these are the things that, yeah, sure, they shouldn't have gone away, but the more important thing is that they are back. And hopefully it just gives you an entire package that you can be excited about. But I will give you my top line impression of it at the moment. Again, I haven't played the final build, so always have to throw it out there. But I do feel like it could be one of the best 2K WWE games in a while. And again, I liked last year's a lot, but I do think that this one is going to be better. But make sure you try and check out as many content creator videos about this as you can, because everyone's going to have a different take, and then you can absolutely make your own mind up. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which will be me going through every single ratings roster from the game and just laughing about them because I'm an idiot. And otherwise, it's GorillaMind.com/Simon. If you are watching this on the Monday or the Tuesday, which is the 26th and 27th, they're doing a 25% off sale, so make sure you use the code Simon to get those. Patreon.com/Simon316, Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics for my merchandise. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, and I can't think of anything else because I'm losing my voice. I got this stupid thing on my head from wrestling. There it is, a big old graze, but I'm not moaning. I had a good old time wrestling this last weweek. Thank you to everyone that does book me, and that's it. I'm gonna go lay down now, or after I've edited this video, then I'll lay down. I'm in a little bit of pain because I am an old man. Am I gonna stop? Nope. Goodbye.